Listen, the relationship you're in right now is not the relationship you think you're in. You've been reading the wrong document. You've been reading the red ink. You missed the love that was on the next line. And I'm not blaming you, my friend. I am telling you, you are watching the wrong part of the movie. You are filming the cracks in the sidewalk when a sunrise is breaking right behind the person you say you love. Now let me be honest with you. I have sat with 5 million people across 4 decades, and the ones who come into my office brokenhearted aren't brokenhearted because love failed them. They are brokenhearted because focus failed them, because they trained their eye on a flaw and they missed the whole human standing inside it, and they don't know they're doing it. That is the cruelest part. The villain is invisible. The sabotage is quiet. The sabotage is the meaning maker in your own head choosing every day to find what's wrong. So what do I mean by that? I mean, you sitting here listening to this right now, you are more educated than any human who has ever lived. You can find a flaw in a partner in under 9 seconds. You can find a flaw in a job offer in under 6. You can find a flaw in your own face in the mirror in 3. And here's the truth, that skill that you think is protecting you, that sharp eye that you think is keeping you from making a mistake, that hypervigilance, it is not protecting you. It is the engine of your loneliness. It is the fire that is burning down the house you say you want to live in. But here's the thing. You weren't born with that engine. Nobody is. You built it, which means you can dismantle it. Piece by piece, breath by breath, decision by decision, you can change it. And I know I'm right about this because I've watched it happen 10,000 times. I've watched grown men, women, teenagers. I've watched them put down the magnifying glass and pick up a human instead. And the relationship they already had began to glow. And I want you to see this. If you want to take the island, you have to burn your boats. The army lands on the shore. They turn around and they torch every vessel that carried them there. There is no retreat. There is no escape hatch. There is no quiet, well, if this doesn't work out. You are all the way in. You are either going to build a life on that island with the person standing next to you, or you're going to drown in the ocean of almost. You don't get both. The boats don't float upside down. The boats are gone. Now listen to me carefully, because this is the spine of everything I'm about to say to you. There are 3 decisions you make every moment of your life. The first decision is what to focus on. The second decision is what meaning to give it. The third decision is what to do about it. And once you understand these 3, once you really understand them, you will never look at a fight with your partner the same way again. You will never look at your own doubt the same way again. You will never look at yourself the same way again. Let's slow this down. The first decision, what to focus on. Your brain takes in roughly 11 million bits of information every second. Your conscious mind can only handle about 50. So your focus is a filter. It decides what gets through. It decides what gets rejected. It is the bouncer at the door of your reality. And when you walk into your kitchen in the morning and your partner has left their mug by the sink, you have a choice. You can focus on the mug. You can focus on the fact that the mug is a symbol of their carelessness, their selfishness, their failure to see you, their failure to love you in the way you have asked to be loved. Or you can focus on the hand that made the coffee, the hand that woke up before you, the hand that is trying in its own imperfect, distracted, frightened human way to give you a morning. Same mug, same kitchen, same facts, different focus, different reality. Because here's what I know. The second decision, the meaning you give it, that is where the sabotage lives. Because we don't experience life. We experience the life we focus on. There's a million things happening at once in this room right now, and most of them you'll never notice. The clock on the wall, the dust in the beam of light, the hum of the refrigerator, the fact that your chest is rising and falling right now without you having to ask it to. You could focus on any of those. You don't. You focus on what your focus chooses to give you. And the meaning maker in your head does the rest. The meaning maker is the narrator in the movie of your life. And right now, your meaning maker has been writing a tragedy about a partner who doesn't try hard enough. About a relationship that's almost right, but not quite. About a person you love that you cannot seem to trust. And here's the part that breaks my heart every time I see it. The meaning maker wrote that script without asking you. You woke up one morning and it was just there, on the page, playing behind your eyes. And you assumed it was the truth. You assumed the movie was reality. It is not. It is a movie. It is one version of the movie. And there is another one, and another one, and another one. And the version you watched depends on what you decided to focus on in the dark the night before. Now, let me say that again. The meaning maker is not a judge. It is a writer. And writers can be edited. And I'm going to teach you how to edit it. But first, I have to slow down and let you see what I'm pointing at. Because what I'm pointing at in this specific conversation is something I call flaw-finding. And flaw-finding is the smoking gun of the dismissive avoidant in love. If that's a phrase that hits you in the chest, if you've ever sat with someone you chose, and your mind did a sweep, an automatic sweep, looking for the defect, then listen. This is for you. This is the hour you came here for. Let me explain what I mean by flaw-finding. Flaw-finding is not noticing that someone is human. Everyone in the world is human. Flaw-finding is a habit. It is a pattern. And the pattern runs like this. Something small happens. Your partner says something slightly off, slightly tired, slightly distracted. Your partner leaves the dishes. Your partner forgets a date. Your partner laughs at the wrong moment. Your partner sighs when they used to hum. Your partner checks their phone at dinner. And your brain, automatic, cruel, fast, does not register a human moment. It registers a verdict. It registers evidence. It registers proof of something your meaning maker decided months or years ago. That this person is not safe, that this person is not enough, that this person cannot hold you in the way your young self was not held. I want to be careful with you, because that last sentence is heavy, and I'm going to come back to it. But first, I want to give you the 5 moves of the pattern, because if you can see them, you can interrupt them. And these don't come as a list. They come as a story, because that's how I think. Let me walk you through the 5 moves that almost every avoidant in love performs without realizing they are performing them. The first move is the microscope. The microscope is what happens when your eye zooms in past the human. You see a single hair out of place, and you forget the head. You see a tone in a sentence, and you forget the love that wrote the sentence. You see a delay in a text, and you forget the years of text that came back every time with the speed of someone who was thinking of you. Let me say that again. You see a delay in a text, and the microscope puts it under glass, and suddenly that delay is proof. Proof of what? Proof of everything you've been afraid of since you were 6. And the rest of the relationship, the warmth, the laughter, the inside jokes that only the 2 of you share, that gets pushed to the periphery, that gets blurred. That gets what's called in our work a deletion. You literally delete the good in order to protect yourself from being hurt by the bad. But here is the thing, my friend. You don't actually delete the good. You can't. It's still in there. It's still running in the background. It just stops being the foreground. It stops being the headline. It stops being the thing you can consciously access. And the moment the microscope locks in on a flaw, your entire emotional state reorganizes around that flaw. You go from satisfied to suspicious in 11 seconds. You go from grateful to grieving in under a breath. Not because anything real changed, because your focus did. Because your focus is the lens. And the lens just zoomed. So, what's behind the story? It's your state, your mental, your emotional state. And your state, more often than people realize, is a state you walked into carrying from somewhere else. From a childhood where love was conditional. From a marriage where love was a cruise missile. From a father who was a stone. From a mother who meant well but couldn't hold the room. From a first love that taught you that softness is dangerous. That closeness is suffocation. That if someone sees you fully, they will leave. Your state did not begin in this relationship. Your state began long before this relationship, and it is exhausting you. It is exhausting the person you say you love, and most of all, it is exhausting you. The second move is the Phantom X. The Phantom X is the comparison that has no human. The Phantom X is the ghost of someone you barely remember, someone you weren't even that happy with at the time, but who has now, in the distorted memory of your mind, become perfect. Because they left, because they are not here, because absence in the mind of someone who fears closeness looks a lot like peace, and so you compare. You compare the warm, breathing, imperfect, in-the-room partner you have right now to this phantom, and the phantom always wins, because phantoms never leave the dishes. Phantoms never forget your birthday. Phantoms never disappoint you. because they are not real. Now, what does that mean to you? It means that the comparison you're running isn't fair. It isn't even real. It's a hallucination dressed up as a memory. And it is one of the great sabotages of our age, the magnification of what's gone, the deletion of what's here. And let me tell you, I'm not picking on anyone. I have done this. I have a phantom. I have a version of a relationship that didn't happen the way I now remember it. I went back to the past and I edited it. I turned a person who was human into a person who was perfect because they were no longer there to be human at me. And that phantom flirted with me for years, pulling my focus away from the woman who was sitting across from me, who had been sitting across from me, who was real, who was trying, who was there. Don't let a phantom steal what is alive. The third move is criticism dressed up as standards. This is the cousin of flaw-finding, but it shows up in the mouth. It shows up in sentences. And the sentences always sound reasonable. Always. They sound like, I'm just being honest. I think we should communicate better. I have high standards. I know what I want. Now listen to me carefully. There is a difference between a standard and a weapon. A standard is something you ask of yourself first. A weapon is something you ask of someone else every Tuesday without end. And the dismissive avoidant in love has a brilliant weapon stock. They are articulate. They are precise. They are good at framing criticism as a conversation. And so the criticism goes in. It goes in under the door in the middle of the night. And it sits in the chest of the person you love. And the person you love begins to wonder if they're enough, begins to wonder if they'll ever be enough, begins to wonder why they're trying so hard for someone who's making them wrong for trying. I want to say something about this, and I need you to hear the whole thing. Criticism is not honesty. Criticism is almost always projection. Criticism is the part of you that you will not look at, clean it up, and tuck it under your partner's chin instead. You don't clean the wound. You hand the wound to someone else, and then you call that intimacy. It's not honesty, it's avoidance, it's not being discerning, it's being afraid, it's not having standards, it's having a fortress. I'm going to slow down here because I want to be very clear. I'm not blaming you, I'm not shaming you. I'm telling you what's happening in the pattern. Because if you can see the pattern, you can stop it. And the pattern is, when you feel closeness, your meaning maker gets frightened. And it does what any frightened meaning maker does. It looks for the way out. It looks for the crack. It looks for the flaw. And it whispers, see, I told you, this person is not safe. This person will leave. This person will hurt you the way your father did, the way your mother did, the way the first person who said, I love you, and then said goodbye did. And so the pattern builds a wall higher. And the wall keeps you safe. And the wall also keeps you alone. And the wall also makes the person outside the wall stop trying. And when they stop trying, you say, see, I told you. And the prophecy fulfills itself. And the prophecy fulfills itself. And the prophecy fulfills itself again. The fourth move is escape into the inanimate. The Spitfire plane has a propeller. It's a beautiful spinning thing. It is a gorgeous piece of engineering. But if you walk into it while it's running, it will kill you. And the dismissive avoidant in love has a propeller. The propeller is work. The propeller is the gym. The propeller is the television. The propeller is the bottle. The propeller is the phone. The propeller is anything that spins faster than intimacy. Anything that produces a state of motion without producing a state of closeness. Anything that allows you to feel that you are doing something without ever having to feel that you are being seen. I want you to hear that one more time. Anything that allows you to feel that you are doing something without ever having to feel that you are being seen. And this is not a moral judgment. I am not telling you to throw your phone in the ocean. I am telling you to notice when your focus shifts, to notice when the chest gets tight, to notice when you reach for the inanimate at the exact moment the human in front of you is offering you nothing less than the gift of presence. Because if you look at it clearly, my friend, you'll see every time you escape into the inanimate, you are not running towards something. You are running from something. You are running from the unbearable vulnerability of being loved by a person who might one day, accidentally, in their own distracted human way, fail to love you back in exactly the right shape. And here's the truth. They will fail. Not because they want to, because they're human. and you will fail, and they will survive it. And that survival is the foundation of trust, not a perfect run. A perfect run is not real. A perfect run is a phantom. Trust is built in the messy middle. Trust is what survives the failure. Trust is what remains after the dishes and the silence and the sigh. And if you keep escaping, you never get to build the foundation. You never get to walk that quiet, fumbling, ordinary walk toward knowing that another human is safe. The fifth move is testing. Testing is when you deliberately, with or without your awareness, set a trap. You leave an emotional landmine somewhere in the relationship and you wait to see if your partner steps on it. You withdraw affection to measure whether they'll pursue. You say something sharp to measure whether they'll fight back. You get quiet to see if they'll notice. You go through their phone to see if they'll catch you, so you can catch them catching you. You look for a flaw that confirms a flaw you already suspect. And when you find it, you feel a perverse relief. Not joy, not peace. Relief. The relief of being proven right about being unsafe. But here's the thing. Being right about being unsafe is not the same as being safe. Being right about being unsafe is a kind of prison. And you, my friend, you have built yourself a beautiful cell. You've decorated it. You've put up curtains. You've got a streaming subscription and a career and maybe even a small circle of friends. The cell is comfortable, but you cannot lie down because the mattress is a fault line, because the walls are mirrors. Because every morning you wake up and the only thing that changes is the season of the partner, you are turning slowly into a phantom. And the cell is a palace, and the palace is a tomb. And the tomb is quiet, and quiet is not peace. Quiet is just absence. Now I've walked you through the 5 moves, the microscope, the Phantom X, the criticism, the escape, the test. But I have to tell you something else. They are not 5 separate things. They are one thing. They are one pattern. They are the same engine running on 5 different tracks. And the engine is this. Your nervous system learned early that closeness is dangerous. That being loved is the setup for being abandoned. That if you let yourself be held, the hand will pull away. And so the engine keeps scanning for the first sign of the hand pulling away. And the engine calls that scanning focus. But it isn't focus, it's hypervigilance. And hypervigilance is focus in a straitjacket. Hypervigilance is focus that forgot it had a choice. And here is where I want to slow way down. Because this is the part I need you to carry with you when you turn this off. There is a writer, Dostoevsky, who once said, and I will paraphrase, that suffering is the only thing that teaches you the truth. And there is a thinker, Steiner, who taught that the same wound can be the same gift. And I'm going to be very tender with this, because I'm going to bring you close to the kid in you. The kid that learned the lesson too early. The kid that took the lesson and laid it down like a brick between themselves and the world. The kid that said, I will not be soft. I will not be taken. I will not need. I will not cry. I will find the flaw before I'm found out. I will leave before I'm left. And here's the miracle. You're an adult now. You're sitting in a room. You have a job. Maybe you have children. Maybe you have a partner that has loved you for years, that has chosen you for years, and you can look back at that kid, and you can say to that kid, I see what you did, and I understand, and you kept me alive, and you gave me a spine, and you taught me to read rooms, and read motives, and read people, and that reading is a gift. It is, but, and this is the pivot of everything I'm saying to you, the kid's strategy is not your strategy anymore. The fortress that kid built is now a prison. The obsession with flaw-finding that kid built is now the cause of the loneliness you're trying to escape. And the loneliness is closing in. And the partner on the other side of the wall is also lonely. And 2 lonely people are sitting in the same house waiting for the other to make a move that they cannot make because of the engine that is running in both of their heads. So what do you do? What do you actually do? I'm going to give you something, one thing, a drill, non-negotiable, under 90 seconds. And you can do it tonight, tomorrow morning. Tonight at the dinner table if you're brave. Tomorrow morning if you're not yet brave. The drill is this. Take 3 breaths, 3 full breaths, in through the nose, out through the mouth, long, slow, with your eyes closed if you can, with your eyes open if you can't, not to calm down, to arrive in the room, to arrive in the moment. To arrive in the face of the person you are about to look at. Then say internally, not out loud, I am grateful for one specific thing this person has done for me in the last month. One thing. Specific. Real. Not the big things, the small things, the way they laughed at your joke that wasn't funny, the way they carried the bag without being asked, the way they texted back at midnight when they had to, the way they held the door open for a stranger and you saw in their face a version of them you almost never let yourself witness. Then say internally again, one true thing about this person that I have never said out loud. One true thing. Could be fierce, could be tender, could be small, could be enormous. But it has to be true, and it has to be unspoken, because I am not asking you to confess yet. I am asking you to notice, to let the inside of you say a sentence to itself. That's it. 3 breaths. 1 gratitude, 1 truth, under 90 seconds, every day, for 30 days, non-negotiable. Now let me tell you what happens when you do this drill, and I am not guessing, I have watched it. Your focus, the very first decision, shifts, because the breath resets the body. The breath tells the nervous system, we are not in the war zone. We are in the kitchen. We are not in the memory of being left. We are in the memory of being held. The breath gives you back the steering wheel. And then the gratitude, that's the second decision. You are now giving a meaning to the moment that is not paranoid. You are giving it a meaning of plenty, of being seen, of being loved imperfectly. And the truth, that's the third decision. You are now choosing to do something about it. You are choosing to be the one who notices. You are choosing to be the one who speaks, not out loud, yet. But in the inside of you, you have voted. You have voted for this person. You have voted for this morning. You have voted for this life. And a vote, my friend, is a commitment. And a commitment is the smallest unit of trust. And I want to tell you something now about trust, because I don't have time for mysticism, and I don't have time for slogans. Trust is not a feeling. Trust is a practice. Trust is not something you have. Trust is something you do. Trust is the act of walking into a room with a person who might disappoint you and choosing to keep walking in. Trust is the act of saying, I'm going to remain available. I'm going to remain open. I'm going to remain in the soft, embarrassing, vulnerable middle of being loved by a human. And if I get hurt, I will survive the hurt, because I have survived harder, and I have not been destroyed, and I do not have to be destroyed now. Now let me tell you something about me. I'm not going to dress it up too much. I began with anger. I began with push. I began with the engine of getting out, of proving, of never being the smallest one in the room. And the engine worked. For a while. The engine gave me a career. The engine gave me a microphone. The engine gave me the privilege of standing on a stage and watching people's lives change in front of me. But the engine couldn't give me a relationship. The engine couldn't give me the soft, fumbling, ordinary days. The engine couldn't help me lie next to a person and not scan them for the flaw that would justify the exit. And the day the engine changed, the day it went from push to pull, that was the day I lost my armor and found my life. And I am asking you, not for me, not for your partner, but for you, I am asking you to consider the same shift, from push to pull, from scanning to staying, from flaw-finding to flaw-allowing, from defect detection to defect tolerance, from meaning maker as judge to meaning maker as witness, from a fortress to a porch, from a fortress to a porch, from a fortress to a porch. I want you to see what happens when you do that, when you sit on a porch instead of inside a fortress, when you let the morning come to you as it is, when you let the partner on the other side of the room be the partner on the other side of the room, distracted, tired, imperfect, kind, doing their best in their own frightened way. The sunlight hits the floor. The mug is still by the sink. The phone is still in your pocket. But your focus is different now. Your focus is on the porch. Your focus is on the human. Your focus is on the gold of the morning. And the gold is what gets through the lens. And the gold is what determines the day. Now let me be honest with you one more time. You're going to fail this drill. You're going to wake up in 3 days and find yourself scanning. You're going to wake up in 3 weeks and find yourself testing. You're going to wake up in 3 months and catch yourself comparing the partner in front of you to a phantom. And the failure is not failure. The failure is data. The failure is feedback from your meaning maker that the engine is still running. The engine is always going to try to run. That is what engines do. Your job is not to crush the engine. Your job is to notice when the engine starts, and then to do the drill, and then to keep doing the drill, and then to invite the engine, strange as this sounds, to a longer breath, to a slower meaning, to a softer third decision. This is what we call, in the work that I do, the journey from Unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence to conscious competence to unconscious competence. You don't start on the porch. You start in the fortress. You don't start with the breath. You start with the panic. You don't start with the gratitude. You start with the scan. But somewhere, if you keep at it, the panic shifts. You begin to notice the panic. That's conscious incompetence. You begin to see, I am doing this again. I am finding a flaw. I am building a wall. I am testing. You can see it. You can see yourself doing it. You can see the partner looking at you with a question in their face that you don't know how to answer. That is the moment. That moment, that small, embarrassing, half-second moment, that is the turning point. And from there you do the breath, and the breath works. And then the gratitude, and the gratitude works. And then the truth, and the truth works. And you do it again, and you fail, and you do it, and you fail, and you do it again. And one day you look up, and the breath is just how you begin. And one day you look up, and the gratitude is just how you see. And one day you look up, and the truth is just how you speak. And then you are riding the porch like a sail. And the porch is moving. And you are not gripping. You are not bracing. You are not scanning. You are just sailing. Now I want to close with a few things. I want to close on what I think is actually true about this, about your relationship, about your life, the dismissive avoidant. Whether that's a clinical phrase for your partner, or whether that's a phrase you recognize somewhere in your own chest, is not an enemy. The dismissive avoidant is a strategy. The strategy was genius. The strategy worked. The strategy kept you away from the wound that took everything from you when you were young. And the strategy is now costing you the only thing that can heal the wound, which is closeness, which is presence, which is the willingness to look at another imperfect human in the morning and say, I see you, I see the mug, I see the sigh, I see the tired, and I am not leaving. And the same is true if you are the partner of the dismissive avoidant. If you are the one on the other side of the wall, and I know you are listening too, you, my friend, listening to this right now on the other side of someone else's fortress, I want to tell you something. The fortress is not a rejection of you. The fortress is a memorial to a wound, and your job is not to knock the fortress down. Your job is to walk past it, to leave the door open, to leave the porch light on, to leave a mug of coffee on the table in the morning, to say, out of earshot, I see you. I am not going anywhere. I will still be here when the fortress becomes a porch. And to mean it, and to keep meaning it, until the fortress becomes a porch. And I want to tell you, the focus is the master key. Focus is the lens. Focus determines everything. The focus on the flaw. The focus on the wall. The focus on the phantom. The focus on the fortress. These are all just lenses, and a lens can be turned. And a turned lens changes the room. And a changed room changes the day. And a changed day changes the life. And a changed life changes the person. And the changed person sits on a porch with a partner who is no longer a phantom. And the partner is breathing. And the partner is trying. And the partner is human. And the human is enough. It is enough. Let me say that again. It is enough. You don't experience this relationship. You experience the relationship you focus on. So focus on the gold. Focus on the breath. Focus on the morning. Focus on the gratitude. Focus on the truth. Focus on what is trying to be born between two frightened, flawed, magnificent, persistent humans who chose each other on purpose and who are right now, in this moment, asking themselves if they can keep choosing each other. You can. You already know you can. You are a hero. You have always been a hero. You have walked through fire no one saw and came out the other side still capable of love, still capable of hope, still capable of throwing a rope across the gap to another human being. And that is the hero's journey. The hero's journey does not end when the dragon is slain. The hero's journey continues in the ordinary, in the morning, in the mug by the sink, in the sigh you forgive, in the truth you finally tell, in the porch you finally sit on, in the breath you finally take. The hero's journey continues, and it is yours, and it is real, and you don't owe anyone a performance of it. You owe it to you, to become the human who finally stops running from the very thing they were looking for. Now figure it out. The drill is yours, the breath is yours, the partner is yours, and the next moment of your life is yours. Right now, this moment, what are you going to focus on? What meaning are you going to give it? What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? You owe it to you.